I wanted to do something spectacular. Came from you blinked, you missed it. And I became an All-American. And I won 2 Olympic trials. I'm going to compete against Microsoft and the Oracles, the most complicated thing in the world. The greatest software ever built in the commercial market. It didn't have the bandwidth to move 1 billion rows. It took 22 hours. Is that Snowflake only works on Snowflake? Microsoft only works on Microsoft. Nobody cares about any other system other than theirs. Except for us, who care about them all. That's why I'm here. Mission accomplished.
Today we sit down with Tom Coffing, an all-American wrestler turned technologist who spent 20 years building what IBM called the most sophisticated data tool on the planet. He's the founder of Nexus, doing something no competitor has matched, joining 20 tables across 20 different databases in a single query. Tom reveals why tech giants are terrified, how a small company outperforms billion-dollar corporations, and why AI is both his biggest threat and opportunity. Stay until the end for his magic wand moment, the one obstacle between innovation and monopoly. This is the Inevitable Cast, sponsored by Inevitable Flow, helping AEC companies generate qualified leads using AI-powered outbound.
Welcome to the Inevitable Cast. This podcast is sponsored by Inevitable Flow. We help architecture, engineering, and construction companies generate a consistent flow of qualified project leads using smart AI solutions. If you want to book a free consultation to find out more, click the link in the description of the show. Today's guest is Tom Coffing, a technologist, educator, and the founder behind one of the most sophisticated data tools on the planet. After a decade as a programmer and teaching over 1,000 classes worldwide, Tom wrote more than 85 books on database architecture and SQL. He went on to build Nexus, a platform used by major corporations to query, migrate, and federate data across more than 25 database systems, and even perform 20 table joins across 20 different systems in a single query. A capability no other vendor has matched. Tom has spent the last 30 years helping enterprises access any data, anytime, anywhere, and today we explore what the journey has taught him about technology, scaling software, and the future of AI-driven data movement. Tom, it's a pleasure to have you here today. And before we dive into Nexus and everything you're building, let's go back a bit. What originally pulled you from being a programmer into becoming an educator, an author, and eventually a founder?
Well, thanks for having me today, Guy. When I started my career, I wanted to do something spectacular. And I was an athlete in high school. Came from a town so small, if you blinked, you missed it. And no one had ever placed in the state in any sport. And I was 4th, 3rd, and 2nd as a wrestler in the state. So I was kind of like a hero, a local small town hero. And then I went on to wrestle in college and I became an All-American. Only 2 people have done that in Cincinnati where I came. And I won 2 Olympic trials. So I had such a stellar career that when it's over, Guy, you say, oh, I got to go into business. I mean, it's just really like, wow, I thought athletics would last forever. And I go, how could I really do something special? I had been programming because my dad had his own computer shop for a few years. So by the time I was 16, I was working in the operations room and running the night computer stuff. So I had that opportunity, and that's what I was going to do as a career. And so I said, I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to do the opposite extremes. I'm going to become the most technical programmer, computer person, because I'm going to start at the ground up, computing at the byte level. We were doing holograph cards back then again, brother. And I'm going to really learn it from the ground up. So I'm going to try to become the most technical person on the opposite extreme. I was a speech major in college. I'd given a lot of presentations. And I said, I'm going to try to become the best speaker. And if I could be the most technical and the best speaker, I've hit the 2 extremes and I can accomplish anything in between. And that's really where it started.
Amazing. What an incredible story. You wouldn't think the connection of like an all-American wrestler would then become like, a programmer, an author, a founder. Actually, I'm curious, when people discover you were like also an all-American wrestler, what surprising connection do you think exists between athletics and building complex software?
It's extremely interrelated. When I was wrestling, I was doing certain moves in college, jumping over people's back, grabbing their ankles. I saw somebody do it and I really worked on the architecture of it until I go, no, this is a sound move. No one had ever really done it other than one other person. I talked to a buddy the other day and he says, that crazy stuff you used to do where you jumped over people's back and grabbed their ankles? He goes, every wrestler does that now. That is the standard move. They've changed the rules against that. And here's the real key. The Japanese believe if you can master one thing, you can master anything. And I took that to heart. So I just did everything I did to become a successful athlete. They go, oh, did you practice? I go, every day. Did you go to tournaments? I go, oh, yeah. Did you listen to people who knew more than you? Of course. And then, you started to do things across different disciplines. And that's what I did in my career. I just said, you know what? Do the same thing I did in wrestling. I'm going to get better every single day for the rest of my life in everything I do. And that's the only quality that I brought to computing is I just continue to get better.
Can't beat that.
Isn't that the only thing you can do is say, you know what? I can do better than I did yesterday. If you keep an open mind about even your own mistakes and flaws.
Exactly. You can blame the world for your misery, or you can take action and make yourself better in one way, shape, or form every day, and conquer your wildest dreams.
I love
Right?
what you're saying there. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot.
Yeah, amazing. And Tom, if someone meets you today and asks what you actually do, how would you describe your role?
It's so difficult because I market, I sell, I design, I test, I still write books, I do SQL, I teach classes still. What do you say? I do everything. I can't really describe what I do. Anything with data, helping customers, I really am involved in. I still am absolutely racking my brain to do the latest Snowflake and Snowpipe and AI technology. So I'm constantly learning. It's hard to say what I do, but my real passion right now, Guy, is to build. And this is, I was a successful wrestler. I was a great speaker. I was Toastmaster national champion. I was one of the top authors in the world. I did a lot of things, not because I was smart, but because I knew how to just keep grinding and learning and listening and practicing and getting better until I got over the hump and was able to accomplish some things. So I said to myself, I've been successful at more than one thing. It seems to be somewhat rare. Maybe I have something. And I go, I'm going to really put all my chips out front and put it all in and say, I'm going to compete against Microsoft and the Oracles, and I'm going to, the Teradatas, and I'm going to build the most complicated thing in the world. And that is to be the number one software in the world. By money, I haven't even come close, but by my technology, I just wanted to build the greatest software ever built in the commercial market. And that's been my goal. And that's really what I want to tell people that I do. That's what I'm the most proud of. Okay, you can be an author. Oh, you can be a speaker. You can be a teacher. Those are important things. I love the fact I've helped so many tens of thousands of people understand this technology where they said, Tom, I wouldn't have got this till you explained it to me. And I go, no, it was difficult for me. So to be able to come in and say, okay, I did have some talent. And that's what surprises people, Guy. They go, wait a minute, you got a software product? You're a teacher. Dude, that just doesn't happen. And so that's what I'm the most proud of, is taking me 20 years of grinding.
Yeah, I can feel that. So I want to zoom in on Coffin data warehousing and the engine behind Nexus. How does Coffin data warehousing make money today? Is it through like product licensing, training, or services? Can you explain to us a little bit about the business model behind it?
We still sell books. We still teach classes. We still do consulting. You got to be able to make money in a lot of places. Otherwise, all of a sudden you go, I'm not making money anywhere. But it's really a lot about Nexus. People buy a yearly license. Some companies like Dell, Charles Schwab, other insurance companies have universal licenses, so they pay one fee per year. The post office, for example, and then they get unlimited licenses of Nexus for a year. Every user has it. 15,000 people there use Nexus to query all their databases.
So as far as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay, Nexus has two main sides: the desktop that has power to do anything, and the server which executes the jobs for users, right? How do most customers use that division in practice?
Well, that's a really good point because where I went wrong, and I've gone wrong many times, but you make corrections, is that my real dream was to say, look, I'm going to put everything on the desktop and I'm going to allow people to query every system, which is obvious, but I'm going to allow them to move data and convert data instantly. Oh, I would like to move data from Teradata to Snowflake, from Oracle to DB2, any combination back and forth. Every system moves between each other and it converts the table structures in 1 second. And then we were able to start writing the SQL, and then we were able to do federated queries across all these systems. And people started using Nexus to move data. But here's something I never realized, Guy, is that if you're moving from Teradata to Snowflake and you're on your desktop, it goes from Teradata through your desktop and onto Snowflake. And I go, oh my goodness, this has not got the bandwidth. Your PC is limited. So
Right.
in a way, for example, I can join 20 systems from 20 different databases in a single query and have everything come to the desktop and do all the joining with your CPU in memory on your desktop. For rows that are less than a million or two, it's a brilliant technology. No one's figured out how to do that yet. But yet, it didn't have the bandwidth to move a billion rows. It took 22 hours. So we built a server. We go, oh, we messed up. I am not in this game. So my large customers can't move billions of rows or join billions of rows. So we built a server so you can do everything on your desktop, everything. But when you need the horsepower, you can do everything on your desktop and say, actually, I want that running through that server. Now it goes from Teradata through the server and right to Snowflake. And that is really what makes us extremely unique. I really appreciate the questions you're asking. Shows how smart you are about technology, because we would have been out of the game had we not been able to build that server.
Yeah. I mean, it is obvious that you have created something really unique here, and sometimes it may be even harder to explain and like get people to use it in a way that is the optimal use of it. So my next question to you would be, what parts of your sales or onboarding tend to require the most manual explanation or like demonstration time?
Well, whenever we show Nexus to a customer, that's when it really requires us to sit down, see what they want, show them about an hour-long demo, and then they are usually pretty convinced that this is the tool for them.
Okay. And when enterprises, they basically like when they evaluate Nexus, what information or education do they usually need before they understand its value?
They can usually, these people are pretty sharp. These people can usually see this and go, whoa, I see it moves data. Oh, I see it federates. Oh, I see it does analytics inside the PC. God, that's usually for the database. Once they see these things, then we will usually just give it to them, let them try it out. And then what we do is we customize it. We spent 6 months customizing Nexus for a major state agency that wanted to replace Teradata Studio and SQL Assistant with something more viable for all of their 700 users. And so then we let them play with it, and then we educate them. I'm going to be doing classes for them in January, 20 people at a time, to show them exactly how to use the technology, because it's actually a little tricky. It's not just so easy. It's got so many hidden, beautiful features that after you start using, you go, wow, they've never seen this before. Oh, I've never seen that before. Oh,
Mhm.
I can just drag an answer set to the cloud, and then that's going up there where AI can, then if I buy an AI license, I can use AI. And I go, yes. And you can query that cloud data, Parquet files, JSON files. I go, oh yeah, just Nexus will query it. They go, oh my goodness. And that is the beauty of this business. And again, just like my wrestling career got better and took less time to learn and being able to do more clever things because you had so much experience, we're doing the same now. So now we're doing 20 things that no one's ever done before. Microsoft's not doing it.
Amazing. Tom, I wanted, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned you're working on some incredibly exciting innovations, and I wanna touch base on that. And what's the biggest initiative on your plate right now at Coffing Data Warehouse?
We are doing two things that are just going to shock. We have finally mastered the ability to join across all systems with Excel and Microsoft Access, with flat files, Parquet, JSON, CSV. And the ability to do that gives people the ability to say, listen, AI is important. Data's never been more important. The ability to go grab data and join it across all of these platforms is just really shocking that a tool would be that sophisticated. I mean, most people can't build a tool for their database. Teradata's had struggles just building a tool for their database. Snowflake, they've had struggles. Very primitive in so many ways, but they just do it on Snowflake. We've done it on all systems. So that's the first initiative. But before I talk to you about how I want to be so technical, but I wanted to be a great speaker, so I spent half my time doing both so that I could hit the two extremes. Our next extreme key is that when someone runs a query and gets a result set, we're actually building Tableau-like dashboards where you don't have to do anything. You just run the query and you go, oh, what's this little eye here? And I go, that's called eye candy, eye candy. And when they press it, they go, oh, there's a dashboard of like 20 different graphs and charts here that are exactly what I want to know, what I did per month, what I did per week, what I did per day, what I did per year, what I did per product. And they go, and there's all kinds of, there's maps here. And I go, you would think you spent an hour building a Tableau dashboard, but it's done instantly. And that's going to be the two extremes that we have. Any data on any database, joining with flat files, Excel, Access, and the ability to get these graphs and charts. I think it's going to shock the world, make them go, this is the best tool ever built. And I go, that's why I'm here. Mission accomplished. 20 years is all it took.
I gotta say, your excitement is contagious. Half of the words you say there, sometimes I don't even understand, but like I'm excited for the people that get to use them, because it does seem like phenomenal. And I do want to touch base on something you said earlier on this talk. You mentioned the government agencies replacing their studio tools with Nexus. What, in your opinion, drove that decision?
A lot of the companies, in 20 years ago when Teradata saw Nexus, they didn't want to lose account control to this great product. So they started giving away their tools. They never gave away anything for free. Okay. All of a sudden they're giving away their tools for free. And for a long time, Guy, free was good enough. It was hard to convince someone to say, hey, Nexus is better. And they go, no, we know that. But I got 10,000 people here. I mean, I'm getting this stuff for free and it's not that bad. As of lately, these products have not been able to keep. Things have gotten much more sophisticated. People need to do a lot more. They need to save money. They just can't be going out there with a shovel, okay, and saying, don't worry, folks, just keep digging. So that's really, I think, the biggest thing is they said, listen, we just can't use it anymore. We need something very sophisticated. Why not get the best if you can give me a good price? And that's exactly it is. And, like at the post office, they had received my emails for 15 years. I didn't even know until they finally said, hey, listen, give me a quote. I got to go into a meeting right now. And I go, wow, I guess longevity does pay off. So the government agencies have a lot of different systems. They have a lot of different people, from people that like to see graphs and charts down to real technical people kind of in between. And to have one tool be able to do it all for all databases, for all different user types, is what's starting to really attract these government contracts. It's hard to get in, but once you're in real good shape.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what they say about this specific clientele. Are you on this topic? Are you currently pushing into new markets or verticals that require different messaging or outreach?
We're trying to do it all. Financial, manufacturing, and insurance has been our sweet spot.
Right.
Because they have a lot of data. It's very complicated. They have a lot of systems. So that's really been our sweet spot. But we're trying to get into a lot of different, for even smaller customers. We've always focused on the largest people in their industry, the largest insurance companies, the largest financial, the largest manufacturer, the biggest government agencies. And now we really think that the time is right to cut our teeth and do smaller markets, smaller companies across a lot more verticals. And frankly, Guy, it's so hard to reach people. Everybody's struggling.
Yeah, I say that we live in a trust recession.
Yeah,
After COVID, or even before, people were like bombarded with so much spam and people trying to sell to them, that
yeah.
now they get like thousands of emails in their inbox, and all they do is just like scroll through them to filter the most important ones. So, getting attention of people, is an art these days. It's not as simple as it used to be back in the
What
days.
advice do you have for us?
You got to know exactly who you're reaching out to and how to personalize the message to them. It's less about you and more about what's in it for them. And definitely leading with value first. So you open the door, build a relationship that leads to trust. That's how you get in the door with people nowadays. And since you asked, this is actually something we actually help people do. And I would be happy to, offline tell you more about what we're doing in this sense.
Great.
Yeah.
Great, because that's a real struggle for everybody. Even these major vendors I talk to, they go, gosh, how do you get new customers? Once I get a customer, they average being with me. I mean, my average customer base has been with me 15 years. That's a long time to be buying the same tool. But once
Well,
they're in, they go, I am never.
well, if you're delivering value, if your tool is doing the job, why would they leave, right?
Right.
Yeah. And let's talk about, the real world friction companies face when working with enterprise data. I think, you would have a lot of insights in this topic. In your opinion, Tom, what is the hardest part for enterprises today? Is it data movement, or like interoperability, or like a skill gap, or maybe governance? What do you think? What area do you think they're struggling today?
Well, they are struggling because, and this is really where the friction point, there's so much data out there that adds so much value that they would love to be able to do more, but they are stuck we have like one database as our enterprise data warehouse, and we do things traditionally. We have the governance in place. So we have the system. And so it is a stymied old system where they can't hold enough data. The system can't handle it. So they've got to make all these compromises. And the hardest thing for them to get down and understand is that it's not about the database anymore. It's about the tool that the users use to access that database or any database. So they can combine data, they can join data. They should be moving a lot of data that's not being accessed that often to the cloud. But the movement's difficult because everybody thinks, oh, it's going to take months to be able to convert the table structures. And that's really what we've done is we've allowed people to just do it in 2 seconds. Nexus does it across every system. So people have not realized yet that it's no longer about the database. There's a ton of them. They're great. It's about accessing data across those databases. And even Snowflake, as great as they are, 150, $200 billion company, they can't do it.
I wanna touch on something you said there that I think it's important. When you speak with CTOs or data teams, what misconceptions do they often have about data migration or federated querying?
They just don't think it's cost worthy enough. They don't think that it can be done at a great cost level. And here's why they're so wrong. There are other companies that will federate queries, but they send it all to one place. Oh, they're going to send it to that server. We got a server. That's where we do everything. Everybody who's been in this game is a one trick pony. Here's how we do it. It doesn't even come close to working. There's only one way to do something of this nature, and that is any way it makes sense. Small data, your PC should join it. That's where it should be processed. Huge data, oh, I got a billion rows on Snowflake. Process it on Snowflake. Oh, what? You got a billion rows actually on Teradata? Okay, change that. Process it on Teradata. Nexus processes data anywhere you want. And I'll give you the perfect example. You go, hey, I just did a 20 table join across 20 systems with Nexus and I processed it on Snowflake. And they go, wow, everything moved to Snowflake temporarily. They processed that data and they go, watch this. I'm going to change the hub to SQL Server. The SQL changes. The data movement load utilities change. Everything moves to SQL Server. It processes there. Oh, I'm going to process it inside my PC. Everything comes to the PC. Boom. Oh, I'm going to process it on a Nexus server. Everything goes to the server. That's what it's so complicated because you have to convert, you have to move, you have to change the SQL, you have to change the case. You have to do so many things that it's taken us 20 years to master that they go, oh, how do you do it? And I go, any way you want. Data size is so important. Is the system busy? I can't process it over there. So we allow you literally to do it any way you decide it makes sense for you.
And Tom, this is incredible. And I cannot help but ask, for a small but powerful company like yours, competing with Snowflake, Oracle, Microsoft, what is the biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge is that when people see Coffing data warehousing or Snowflake or Teradata or IBM or Oracle, come on, Tom, you couldn't possibly be as good as I'm the only person in the world that's written books across every database, not just on the SQL, but the architecture. So I'm the leading expert in the world on how all systems work. And that's the reason I'm the only person in the world that could have created a tool that works equally across them all, moves data across them all, joins across them all, accesses flat files, drags answer sets to system to create tables, and puts things to the cloud with just a drop and a drag, and then you can query it. It took somebody who was an expert across every different platform, graphs and charts, to data movement. Data movement's what kills people. It's so complicated. It takes them forever. And we just, boom, point and click and it's moved. And so it's that there that it's almost too good to be true. And they go, you're a book author. You're a teacher. What in the world are you trying to get into software for? They don't understand I programmed for 10 years. And then I've set out on this journey for 20 years. My programming team have been working night and day for 20 years. Somebody recently said to me, I see why this took 20 years and you guys worked real fast. And I go, no, I know. So that's the real thing. And here's the other part of that key is that Snowflake only works on Snowflake. Microsoft only works on Microsoft. Teradata, Oracle. Nobody cares about any other system other than theirs, except for us who care about them all. And that's the real difference is that vision 20 years ago, that one day the database would no longer be nothing more than a commodity and that your PC would be the most powerful computer for each business user. That's what we did. And it's finally coming true.
That is amazing. I think they play such a big role in this world today. We cannot just look at ourselves, we need to be a little like mycelium, just like the trees. We need to be able to allow different systems to communicate efficiently and smoothly and make the flow of information, as efficient as a mycelium would do with the tree roots underneath, right?
No, you are 100% correct. It's so just natural. It is data, but it's in different sizes. One of the craziest things is the case. Some systems only have everything in small letters, lowercase. Others only uppercase. Others are mixed. When I told my programmers, listen, here's where we've messed up. We are doing these federated queries and we're changing the hubs, but we're not changing the case. And they go, no, wait, we don't think we need to. And I go, Go back and fix it. If you are moving to MySQL, you lowercase everything. If you're moving to Snowflake, you uppercase everything. And when we did that, everything began to work without any errors because these systems are bringing stuff in. And if it's the right, and that sounds so silly. Come on, Tom, this is ridiculous. And I go, no, we didn't realize it at first ourselves, but that's just the beauty of doing something over and over until you perfect it, is that you go, no, no, actually, it's extremely important.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, with all of that said, I am eager to, look forward with you. And because, data plus AI is definitely moving at lightning speed. And, you have said that AI is both a positive and a negative force for your work. And I wanted to touch base on that again and ask you to elaborate on it. What do you mean by that?
For us to be this ahead of the game, IBM said, hey, maybe we want to do some work together on AI. And I showed them an hour of Nexus and they were stunned. And they go, how would AI help you? I mean, you do everything. You just say, move 1,000 tables from MySQL to BigQuery, and it does it. Everything converts. You write the SQL, we just point and click. I mean, how would AI help you? And that's really the first negative for us, is that we felt like, no, we really lived for the day when people said, I need sophisticated, I need data across all systems. The only tool in town is Nexus. You're the only one? I go, yeah, we're the only ones. But now with AI, that's going to change. People are going to catch up. They're going to be able to do the stuff we're doing much, much faster. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I may have spent 20 years only be wiped out. It's possible. I'm definitely afraid of this. And our customers don't want AI in Nexus because they're insurance companies. They go, oh no, if people find out we got AI going, this could be really bad. We're not automatically, saying no claims are allowed here. So we've had to say, listen, we're going to get into AI by allowing you to drag in a result set up to AWS, Google, or Azure clouds. And if you want to buy an AI license, that's your business. So yeah, you want AI? Boop, there you go. That's going to be analyzed by AI, but Nexus is the conduit. It's not in there. At the same time, we've been waiting for customers to go, look, I need more. This free stuff, it ain't getting it anymore. I need something very sophisticated to go after all kinds of data anywhere, to automatically migrate it, to join it, to be able to move it, to put it anywhere in the click of an eye. And that's why AI may very much help us. We're going to be right on top of the AI stuff. We haven't put it in Nexus, but we're the conduit that you can utilize it. And the minute we need to put it inside it, we just do that. People go, oh, this is the greatest tool. Got AI too. So it's a real double-edged sword, frankly. And I think I'm speaking for every single person in the world. Everybody's terrified of AI. We don't even know if we're going to have jobs. Look what you do already. They're going to get AI maybe to do some of that. Who knows? It's extremely frightening. It's like an epidemic sweeping. You don't know if you're going to get sick. So it's very scary, but I embrace AI every single day. I use it. I use it to do things quicker and faster. I think it's something that's just, you're crazy if you're not jumping on board. And so
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword, and I'm going to use it positively to take the great features of Nexus and make sure if others are trying to catch up, that I do whatever they're doing to make sure that just never happens. I don't ever want to lose the leading.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You need to be able to understand that this trend is coming, this wave is coming, and you either gonna fight against it and lose, or you're gonna
Yeah.
try to surf it, adapt to it, and get a chance of being one of the leaders of this AI revolution. I honestly don't think AI will take our job per se, but I do think that the people that learn how to use them in a smart and efficient way will set ahead than the people that are like afraid or cautious or skeptical or like motionless about it now. And then comes quantum physics, that I don't even want to touch on that because it is even a threat to AI itself. And so the thing is like you said in the beginning, we need to focus on what we can control right now, and we need to be able to separate what is noise from what is a signal and focus on the signals and see how that can help us deliver better results to our clients and build more, strong foundation for our companies.
So well said.
Thank you, Tom. Just like yourself, you say things in a very eloquent and beautiful way that I can see why you are also an educator and an author, because you have this ability to turn complex ideas and concepts into more easy to understand, digestible, pieces of information that we can make sense of. And to me, it's an honor to have you here in this podcast today.
Thank you very much.
As we approach here the end of the podcast, Tom, I like to look into your future plans and exciting initiatives. What's ahead for you and for Nexus? Are there any like innovation coming next year that you're most excited about?
Yes. Once we have mastered all our graphs and our charts, all of our ability to just drag data right to the cloud and query it, once we've done that, we've pretty much done everything we wanted to do with this product. And what we're going to do then is we're going to go out and get funding, and we are going to take this to the cloud itself so people can just log onto a website and go, I want to rent Nexus to move data, to federate data, to query data without having anything loaded on my PC. And that's going to be a very exciting time because it's going to be able to compete with the snowflakes out there in their web browser. Why use Snowflake's web browser when Nexus web browser will query all systems and federate across them? So that's where we're going to take it next. We just never stop with something very exciting. So you'll see that in probably 2026, early 2027.
I look forward to following your developments, Tom. You've hinted at integrating AI into Nexus down the road, but what direction do you see that taking?
Well, I see it as hedging our bets and making sure that if you want AI with your data, we allow that to happen inside Nexus by just dragging any result set or any table up there to the cloud to be analyzed. We do all of the movement. We got trees that make it look like a database. Oh, here's my cloud. Oh, wait, no, wait, this isn't the cloud because there's a tree with data and tables and views. And I go, no, that's your cloud files. It's your Parquet files. And they go, oh, you're being really clever here. And we make it really simple. As you mentioned earlier, that is really the big key. But at the same time, we're going to be able to use large language models so that people can use Nexus to just speak and say, here's what I want. And boom, it's going to be able to happen. So wherever AI goes, and as it's adopted, we're set up already to just be able to simply add it and already be able to move data or join data or federate or drag it to the cloud, just with whatever voice or tool you want to utilize to do that. So as AI advances, we're already set up to just probably be the most adaptable tool out there for it.
Amazing. And you've been building this for over 20 years, and you have had to predict, forecast what new features, what is the new demand, not only for next year, but like 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. How do you build this to be future proof, right? And with the same concept, when you look in the horizon beyond 2 years, 3 years, things that you can't do right now, but it's coming, it's necessary. What do you believe the industry will demand from tools like yours in the next 3 to 4 years?
You're bringing up some really good things. The one gift that I always had in the computer industry, and I never said, oh, I'm really smart. I go, no, I got a lot to learn. I'm not too good at this. I could predict the future. Oh, actually, one day this will happen. Oh, they'll do parallel processing eventually. And I don't even know where it would come from. So this gave me such a huge advantage with Nexus that I go, one day people are going to have to do stuff across systems, and they're going to want to move data by just pressing a few buttons. And people go, oh, come on, that's not going to happen. I go, oh, it's as obvious as the day is long. Really? But I didn't see AI. That's the one thing where I go, oh, Nostradamus here, missed that one. I didn't see it. But what you will see happen in the future is that people will be less about, oh, we have our data here, and they will be a little bit more like you would query Google where they go, hey, I really need to know what weather happened on this date, when this happened, when the industry changed, when this did this. And 90% of their data is going to be coming from external sources where they're just typing in what they want. And AI is going to say, here's what happened. It was cold that day, and this is why your sales probably were down. So you will see more of like we query Google to say, hey, I'd like to know about this cooking tech. You're going to see that with everybody's data used.
That would be something, huh?
It's going to keep evolving, like you said. All right, with a couple of the new technologies out there, they're going to have so much power to be able to go out and access all this data. That's going to be the new trend out there, and it's going to start slow until they go, this customer's killing me. What are they doing? And then they're going to find out that's what they're doing.
Yeah, wow. Tom, you've achieved something rare, okay? Outperforming giants in a space where that's not supposed to be possible. And as we approach the end here, I like to ask this last question. If you could wave a magic wand and remove one obstacle that is holding you back today, whether it's awareness, hiring, sales, bandwidth, or something technical, what would that be?
It would never be anything technical. This is an engineering genius where you couldn't do things really much better than what it's just the obstacle of being a small company against these just giant hundreds of billions of dollars. So you just can't outrun that engine. If I had a magic wand, I would say break up these huge companies, because the Amazons, the Snowflakes, the Salesforce are going to be the only companies in the world, and we're all either going to work for them or we're not going to really have a job. I'd love to be able to see some of these big giant tech companies. My magic wand would say bust them up.
All right. And with that, I would like to thank you very much for this episode. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Tom.
Keith, thank you so much.
That brings us to the end of this episode. This podcast is sponsored by Inevitable Flow. We help architecture, engineering, and construction companies generate a consistent flow of qualified project leads using AI powered outbound systems so they can grow revenue without hiring a sales team or relying on unpredictable referrals. If you want to book a free consultation to find out more, click the link in the description of the show. I'll see you next time.